Level 1. Disposable spotter. You sit in a cafe that smells like burnt milk. You keep your hands visible. You keep your face forgettable. Your phone stays dark. Your eyes stay bright. Nobody tells you to surveil. Nobody teaches you tricks. They only teach you a word: access. The service recruits agents, people with access to information the UK needs. So your job is to notice who has it. A diplomat's assistant laughs too loud at a boring joke. A contractor checks his watch like it's a heartbeat. A bored insider scrolls through messages, then deletes them fast. You don't know what any of it means. Not yet. You write nothing down. You memorize shapes instead. The way someone holds a badge. The way someone avoids mirrors. The way someone unavoids mirrors. The way someone's confidence looks rehearsed. You're replaceable. You can feel it in the silence. If you vanish, the cafe won't remember you, and the service won't admit you existed. But you're finally near the forbidden door. You don't collect secrets yet. You collect possibilities. And one possibility starts looking back. Level 2, the clearance candidate. You open your front door and your own hallway feels staged, like your life is a set somebody can walk through. Every photo becomes evidence of a person you used to be. They don't threaten you. They don't need to. They hand you forms and time and questions. Your world turns into paperwork, interviews, and quiet judgment. You learn the phrase developed vetting DV, not as a badge, as a condition of entry. DV is for posts needing frequent and uncontrolled access to TopScript, or any access to TopScript code word material. Frequent, uncontrolled, code word. Words that don't sound like a job, they sound like a blast radius. They ask about your money, your habits, your pressure points. Friends become risk variables. Old mistakes feel freshly fingerprinted. Then you read the part that lands like a slow blink. DV must be formally reviewed after 7 years, and it can be reviewed sooner, anytime, if someone decides it should. So even passing doesn't feel like winning. It feels like being selected for ongoing inspection. At night you catch yourself rehearsing innocence. You hate that you're doing it. You can't tell if that's guilt or adaptation. Your past isn't haunting you, it's being audited, and the audit is still listening. Level 3, the recruit pipeline. You walk into a room designed to feel neutral. Neutral walls, neutral chairs, neutral smiles. Everything polite enough to be dangerous. They say the recruitment is rigorous. They say the timeline can run over 12 months. They say it plainly, like a warning and a promise. Then they begin the stages, 11 of them, online judgment tests, scenario questions, analysis and reporting exercises. A drugs test that feels less medical than moral. A virtual interview arrives with a role-play exercise. You speak about motivation like it's a clean story. You make your voice calm. You make your eyes steady. You watch yourself performing sincerity. Then the 2-day assessment center in London. Scenario-based exercises designed to replicate different roles. 2 days where time feels borrowed. They don't shout, they don't intimidate, they simply let pressure do what pressure does. You see who becomes reckless, you see who becomes reckless. You see who becomes quiet, you see who becomes useful. After that, silence, long enough to make you doubt your own memory. Then the words conditional offer arrive like a sealed envelope, dependent on passing security vetting, and you're told vetting approval is not a given. You stare at your own name on the paper. It looks like someone else's. They don't hire confidence, they hire silence under pressure. You realize your silence just got noticed. Level 4. The legal cage. You sign another document and feel your throat tighten. Because now, the rules aren't workplace rules, they're criminal law. The Official Secrets Act isn't a vibe, it's a blade with clean edges. You learn the core truth fast. Unauthorized disclosure is an offense for members and former members of the security and intelligence services. And it isn't just what you disclose. It includes statements that purport to disclose or are intended to be taken as disclosure. So you learn the first real rule: don't perform your job socially, not at dinner, not in jokes, not in hints. Even pretending you know something becomes dangerous. Your friends talk about politics like it's sport. You nod like a normal person. You swallow 1,000 reactions. You discover a new kind of loneliness, not emotional, structural, a silence built into your bones. You can't vent. You can't confess. You can't only carry. Your mouth becomes a locked room you live inside. And inside that room, something starts to change shape. Level 5, the agent developer. You're introduced to the word agent properly, not a movie agent, a source, a human risk. You hear the service's public language about what it does. Tasked by government. Recruit agents to spy. Protect identities. Analyze and verify information. Supply intelligence reports for government. The facts sound clean. The reality never does. You stop seeing people as friends. You start seeing leverage, fear, and access. You learn to map a person without hating them. What they want, what they fear, what they can reach, what can reach them. Then you hit the first moral snag. The consent problem. You persuade someone to cooperate voluntarily. You don't threaten. You don't blackmail. You just let consequences sit in the room with you. A shared understanding you never say out loud. You watch their eyes when they agree. You tell yourself it's choice, but you know the power balance is tilted, and you feel the tilt in your stomach. Your work protects the UK, but your methods reshape strangers' lives. You're not recruiting loyalty, you're renting it, and the rent is always due later. Level 6, case officer in training. You learn to be two people at once. The person your source trusts, and the person who files them as an asset. The service describes case officers building relationships, recruiting agents, and then running them to provide secret intelligence. You learn to listen like it's a weapon, not sharp, precise. You learn to speak without leaving fingerprints. You tell yourself it's consent. You tell yourself they can walk away, but you know the truth inside the truth. You're the one holding the context they don't have. Then the safety trait arrives. You're told identities must be protected, and you believe it. But protection has a shadow. Sometimes you protect them by pushing them deeper, because the world can't know why they're afraid, because their family can't know why they changed, because explanation is a luxury they don't get. You look at a photo of their kid on a phone screen. You pretend you didn't. You leave the room feeling like you stole something. You don't handle people. You handle the damage. And the damage is starting to recognize you. Level 7, Oversight Shadow. You're briefed on what oversight is. Not as comfort, as gravity. You're told there are layers: executive, judicial, legislative, a regime designed to watch the watchers. You're told there is a right of redress. A tribunal exists for people who believe they were victims of unlawful covert action. You're told there is independent oversight too. A commissioner, judicial commissioners, inspections, authorizations, reports. You want to believe oversight equals ethics. Then you see how much depends on interpretation. You start writing decisions like they'll be read aloud someday, not because you're afraid of being caught, because you're afraid of being misunderstood. One bad decision doesn't just fail a mission, it becomes a hearing you never get to attend. A judgment you'll feel without hearing your name. The cleanest suits in this world still carry knives, and you're learning where they're kept. Level 8, Case Controller. You stop meeting sources. You start moving pieces. You approve risks you will never personally absorb. Your signature becomes a quiet weapon. You learn the service's function as a sentence, obtain and provide information about the actions or intentions of people outside the UK, and you learn the limits as categories: national security, economic well-being, serious crime support, 3 doors, same hallway. Now the category justification arrives. You can justify almost anything with the right bucket. Not because it feels right, because it fits the defined language. You read assessments written in calm words: necessary, proportionate, reasonable. Words that can mean restraint. Words that can also mean permission. You approve something and feel nothing. That's the most frightening part. Not guilt, not pride, numb discipline. Would you hide behind definitions to sleep at night? You don't answer. You sign. You file. You move on. At this level, morality becomes paperwork language, and your paperwork is getting faster. Level 9, the C corridor. You're close enough to power to smell printer toner, close enough to government tasking to feel its weight. The service is tasked by the government. You knew the sentence before. Now you feel it. It isn't heroic. It's administrative. Relentless. You see decisions move through layers. You see time get rationed. You see urgency become a lifestyle. Then you learn a tradition that sounds like a myth, but sits in the building like a ritual. The chief is known as C, linked to the first chief, Sir Mansfield Cumming, who signed letters C in green ink. And the green ink survived. You thought the top meant freedom. The top means ownership by consequences. You finally touch the machine and realize it's touching you back. It doesn't hate you. It doesn't love you. It uses you. And you don't feel powerful. You feel hollow. Because the price of access was your sense of self. And you paid it in small installments. E-ending. You look at the form again. Same ink, same promises, different you. You remember the opening room, how it didn't react, how the air stayed normal while your life changed shape. Outside, the street looks ordinary. People laugh, people complain, people plan vacations. The world keeps pretending it isn't built on hidden decisions. You stand near a window and watch the next candidate arrive. You can tell by the posture, the cautious breath, the way their eyes search for meaning in a blank wall. They sit where you sat. They take the pen like it's just a pen. They sign the secrecy acknowledgement, and the room doesn't react. And you understand the real promotion was becoming forgettable. The new candidate looks up, waiting for recognition. The fluorescent lights hum like they always have. The machine stays calm because the machine is patient, and you,